talking about video games. Yeah! Oh, hello and welcome back to the Donkey Kong Artist Podcast. My name is Patrick Shanley. I am but one of the three hosts of said podcast about Donkey Kongs. Joining me, as always, is my friend and co-host, maybe even best friend, maybe even best friends, Edmund Arnold and Collin Codega. How are you guys doing?
Oh, thank you. I'm doing very well. Thank you. I love being called best friends the first thing in my morning. It makes me feel good about myself.
Are we like the super best friends? It's like Super Best Friends Club.
Yeah! Unite!
I'm like the super Minora friends take over the world group.
Oh my
with
god.
Love and compassion.
Wow.
I forgot all about the Super Minora friends.
I know, it was going to be our comic book, and no one's come up with it yet, and we're going to make millions.
Someone's going to steal the idea. Shh.
This is the time to do it with Avengers being so
in this
popular.
state of America, the Minora friends would be such a good thing that we need to do.
America
Use
needs
love
the
and
Minora
compassion
friends.
And no anger.
Well, there'd probably be a little bit of anger.
No anger.
Angry hugs, at least.
Yes. We hug the anger out of everyone.
That's their superpower.
The group hug is the strongest. We all get together, we hug around someone, and we just hug the hell out of them.
Let's get off the rails this time.
It's so off the rails, I can't even think of like a clever segue at all to get to what our topic was. So I'm just going to go right into it. I played Detroit Become Human. This was a couple weeks ago. The demo has been released. A lot of people have gotten their hands at least on a little bit of the game. I was able to play a little bit more than what the demo is itself. I played about the first 2 hours, hour and 45 minutes of Detroit. I'm very excited for this game. Not quite as excited as I was for God of War, but it's still up there as like something that blew me away in a way that I wasn't expecting.
You can't compare this game and God of War together, though.
No, they're completely different, yeah.
It's a whole different experience. I'm very excited. Did you play Heavy Rain, Pat?
I played a bit of Heavy Rain. I never finished Heavy Rain.
You never got through it. What about you, Collin? Did you play Heavy Rain?
I watched you play Heavy Rain a ton in college when that first came out. Like, that was one with the Origami Killer, right?
Yeah.
I watched a bit of it. And then, what about Beyond Two Souls? Either one of you play that?
No, I never played that.
I played half of it, but the story was not doing enough to keep me engaged.
That's the feedback I've gotten. It's usually that Heavy Rain is the stronger of the two.
What was that? Ellen Page was in it? Yeah. All that controversy with Last of Us and the characters looking the same.
Oh, yes.
I couldn't play that, and I was just like, this looks like Ellie. Is this Ellie? And I couldn't separate that. I know I'm an idiot, but yeah, I could never get into Beyond Two Souls. But this is Quantic Dream's, I think, third game. This would be their third entry, and it's all about androids and humans living cohabitatively in Detroit, right?
Sort of cohabitatively, yes.
Are androids slaves?
Yeah, sort of. I mean, yes, they are. Here's what's interesting about this. So it's kind of a premise that we've seen multiple times in science fiction. But I guess the wrinkle is on this, and it's what Luke Cage talked about, the director of the game, when we were there, is that the way that people treat androids in this game is sort of the way you treat your iPhone or your Alexa or something. It's just a tool. Even though it looks like a human being, it might as well be a cell phone. The way you treat it, the way you act with it. So that's what the little bit that makes it a little bit different than other ones that I've seen in the past. And it's interesting, and they play that up a lot. This game, it was a smart move to set into Detroit, especially because this is a French gaming studio. Detroit was a good place to set it because economic strife in Detroit. It's still there in the future. This is set in 2038. There's still infrastructure there, but there's still also, the slums outside of Detroit. You get to see both sides of that. And then you get to see the way that different people treat the androids. You follow 3 different androids, and they're the playable characters. There's Connor. He's I guess you call him a cop. He works for the cops. He's like a crime scene investigator. There's I'm going to forget their names. Oh my gosh. There's Kara. She's like a housemaid. She cleans up this piece of garbage's house. He lives out in the slums of Detroit. And then there's Marcus, and Marcus works for this really famous painter. And he's the personal android of this famous painter, who's paralyzed, so he helps him move around. And those are the 3 characters you play, and they all have vastly different stories and vastly different interactions with people in the game.
Now, did the stories, you probably didn't get to see this, but did the stories interact in the same way that Heavy Rain did? How, the stories kind of, all play into each other? Each character, they don't know each other, but they have certain events in the in their lives that actually allude to each other in the game. Does that happen at all in this one, or you probably didn't get to play enough of it to see it?
So I obviously didn't go that far in the game. I did ask that question of Luke Cage, and he said, yeah, obviously that is what happens. But there are little seeds planted early on that let you know that like eventually these characters are going to be getting together. And they're foils of each other in ways. You know, their stories mirror each other, even though they're very different, and the way they're treated is vastly different. They all experience prejudice, and what was fun about the beginning of the game was that Luke Cage said that you want to see what it's like to be a slave so that you understand when there's a revolt later, and he told me that, so apparently there is. Or maybe he didn't say revolt, but like, you know, when you become independent later. They're called deviants in the game, when an android like becomes self-aware. When you become self-aware, you understand what it was like to have been treated like a slave beforehand.
Interesting. Okay. And he used those words, slave?
Yes, he did.
So we're supposed to go into this thinking that androids are like similar to like...
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, yeah, I think that's probably what they were trying to do. It's weird, though, because you are a machine in the game, and, like, I understand... like, it's not great to be cruel to your android and, like, beat it and stuff, but at the same time, like, an android is a phone, basically. It's like, if you yell at Alexa, I don't know why you're yelling at Alexa, but, like, you don't deserve to go to jail for yelling at your Alexa.
I'm very abusive towards my Alexa. If any cops heard how I talk to my Alexa, I'd probably go to jail.
Yeah, when my Alexa couldn't tell me the director of Face Off, it got ugly.
I mean, it should know that information, let's be honest. Get it together, Amazon.
I mean, it should. But, so how would you say the overall tone is then? Because I'm assuming then early on in the game, it's going to be pretty heavy in tone since you're, you know, getting that experience right off the bat so you understand what it's like to be a slave and then, you know, eventually flip.
The opening sequence is pretty rough. It's rad, and you're investigating a crime scene. It's a violent crime, and there's a child involved, and it's pretty cool the way it goes through. It's like an active shooter is at the thing. I don't want to give too much away from it, but that's basically what it is. So it starts you out right in the thick of like everything and kind of paints you into this world. What's really cool is you're an android, so you have, you know, special abilities that you can do. When you're playing as Connor, the game works sort of like Heavy Rain does, where you're a detective when you're playing as Connor. You're looking at the crime scene and you get to rewind. You find a clue, and then he gets to rewind what happens. And then as you're rewinding, you try and search for other clues in it. And it's a 3D camera, so you move all around the way the crime scene's being reinvented. And then a little pop-up icon will come, and if you press that button and hold it, then you found a new clue, and then it will open up the mystery a little bit more. So you do that as you're going through, and this is for all the characters, but in different ways. He's a detective, so that's how his character is. At the end of each sequence, which are roughly, say, 5 minutes. It's rare for one to go over 5 minutes, at least for what I played. Then you get a little tree at the end, a decision tree, and it shows you the decisions you made that led you to the outcome that you got. But there's also tons of other branching ones that you didn't do because you made one decision. So this game is... as soon as you finish a chapter, I was like, oh, I want to go back and play it again to see what else I could have gotten out of it.
Yeah, because it seems like they improved that aspect to it, because I know that was a big complaint about Heavy Rain, is that as many choices that they gave you, it seemed pretty linear, and everything ends in the same way. I think I had different endings depending on who survived and who died, but I think, like, to get to that point, everything was very similar, and you couldn't really branch out in very different ways. And it sounds like this game kind of attacks that problem, and it seems like every scenario you go through, you can have up to, like, I don't know, I haven't seen any interviews, and I don't know if he touched on this, but you can have up to, like, maybe 5 to 6 different scenarios take place. Did he go into how many endings they have? Or anything like that? No,
I mean, I asked him questions along those lines. He didn't say, like, this is the exact number of endings you're going to get. But he did say, and even in the demo that we played, everyone who was playing it could get completely different things happening. There were entire scenes that people didn't get, and that branched off into other complete different, like, vignettes that you play through. I can't really go into them because they're all kind of spoilery, but I did talk about those, and, like, there is a lot of permutations when you're playing this game. There's a lot that can branch off, and I only played 2 hours, so who knows, like, if it'll all come together at the end in a satisfying way and really have, like, drastically different endings. But there was enough variety in the 2 hours that I played that I was impressed by the amount that they had put in. Because I talked to the other journalists who were there who were playing the game, and it was fun to hear how much different our playthroughs were.
I think we can spoil the hostage, because you did the hostage situation, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think we can. Like, what outcome did you get? Can you run that down? I think we can spoil it. It's a demo now. It's available for PS4.
Yeah, people have played it. I found the Android.
You found Android?
Yes.
Did it result in any deaths or anything of the dude killing himself, or?
I wish I could remember, and now I feel bad that I don't.
That is very telling of the game if you can't remember that outcome, then.
I guess so, but I mean, it's not. It's more on me for my alcoholism than it is in the game for not remembering.
You guys have problems. We talked about this in previous podcasts.
Well,
I mean, hey, I can imagine if I'm a student, I'm like, hey, come play this game. Oh, here, you want some food? You got some good food. Hey, I got some good beer. Oh, you want a cocktail? Okay, here you go.
Wait, hold up. Let's take 2-3 steps back. Do they feed and give you drink at these events?
Actually, yeah, I'm really curious about this, Pat. Like, when you get invited for like a 2-hour setting, like in my mind, I feel like it's some like they get like a floor of hotel rooms and just have TV set up. Like, what is it like when you go to these events?
okay, so now I'm going to put it straight off the bat. Sony does not give me booze at these events. They do have food. These are in the morning, the last two that I've been to for God of War and for Detroit. You show up, there's breakfast. One was at Santa Monica Studios, and they basically turned their kitchen into like a gaming lounge. It's just a whole bunch of sofas. You each have your own TV. It's like a 60-inch TV. And you have headphones. And then you play, and then there's always like people looking over your shoulders like as you're playing it. I did go to one, though, for Tomb Raider a couple days ago. And that one was at the Mayan Theater in Los Angeles, and I was wasted by the time I played the game. I probably shouldn't say that. But the thing, awesome. My playtime was at 7:45 at night or something like that, and I got there at 4. And there's cool stuff. There's a photo booth and like fun stuff to interact with. But you're in a theater, and you're there for 3 hours. Like, there's not that much to do other than drink as many gin and tonics as possible before you start playing as Lara Croft. So I did.
How do you guys play video games drunk? I've never been able to, like, do that. Is there, like, a specific game type that you can play, like, inebriated, or... Cause I remember, like college days, I'd come home and try to launch something up after a night out, and I could never get into it.
Yeah, driving games is what you want to play when you're drunk.
Like, did you like Tomb Raider? How was that demo?
I did like Tomb Raider. It was, you know, this is what's hard about this, right? Because you start to compare games against other games, which isn't really fair.
I'm going to tell you this right now. Stop comparing games to God of War.
I am. I can't stop it, though. Okay. Then I won't even do it, because it's not God of War. But, at all. But it was alright. I mean, it's Tomb Raider. It's one of those things, especially in a demo setting. Tomb Raider's frustrating, right? Because you just do the same thing over and over and over again, hoping that you don't die this time. At least I do, and I always have when I play Tomb Raider. But it was fun. The story, there wasn't that much of it in the demo, I guess, other than, you know, like, I'm trying to stop this guy from grabbing this thing. But it was beautiful. The voice acting was decent. It wasn't, like, anything to write home about. The character models were good. I would have liked them to be better, particularly after seeing Detroit and seeing God of War, which are the next level of how real you can make a character render. So it was like, I don't know, it was a solid like A-, B+. It was good. I don't want to bash it because it was a good game. At least the demo was good. But I mean, I'm not lining up the day that game comes out the way I did with the last two.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. I think the setting looks really cool. I think they can do a lot of cool visual and lighting effects with the whole potential like eclipse or just like movement of the sun and moon and just like on the ancient like Mayan temple setting. I think it could be cool.
There's this giant flood sequence in it, which was the highlight of the demo. Obviously, I mean, they would probably tell you that too. The sequence is pretty cool, and that was pretty impressive. It was cool. This big long set piece that you're in a flood. It's sort of like the river part of the 2013 Tomb Raider.
Okay. Is Trinity still in it, or is it a whole different new bad guys?
No, it's still Trinity.
It's still Trinity,
yeah.
And this is the end of the trilogy too, right?
Yes, yeah, like the origin trilogy of Lara Croft.
Are there any new gameplay elements, or is it pretty much is it like the third Uncharted where you pretty much know how to do everything? It's just like.
I feel like I'm ill-equipped to be the person that's giving my thoughts on this, because I didn't play the last one, and I only briefly played the one from 2013.
Okay. From what I'm assuming, it looks pretty similar, but I think they usually add like new gadgets or like power ups or stuff as you like progress on. So it's usually like middle and end game when you're actually getting like when you see major differences between the Tomb Raiders when it comes to like abilities and stuff. But it still is probably going to be a very similar format.
Okay. All right. I don't have many questions about Tomb Raider because it's one of those games that I'm just like,
maybe you just got to play it drunk.
Maybe that's it. Maybe
that'll be the game you try.
The first one was fantastic. The second one was good. And now I'm to the point where I'm just like, Uncharted 4 kind of knocked these games out of the way for me.
Also, not to like constantly be harping on it, but one of the reasons why the first one was so good is because Cory Barlog was involved in it. Just saying.
That was he. Okay.
Yeah.
Alright. That first one was really good.
Yeah, it was rad. It was a complete reinvention of the series, and it's because Cory Barlog was there.
Well, and like the realism, that makes sense. He was a part of it because like just the emotional aspect of Laura when she kills her first person, like that emotion is very present in God of War.
That's very true. Yeah, it's similar to when Atreus kills his first
like
one.
Very human. Yeah, actually, there's a lot
of similarities between it because Atreus, he doesn't really like relish in the kill. He's like, man, did that just happen? Why did I do that? Type thing.
Are we just now a God of War podcast forever? Because that's what I think we should be.
We should be. I mean, Collin hasn't beat it yet, but
hey, I will beat it this week.
Oh God, God of War.
I can't. No, it's actually super impressive. The point I'm about halfway through, maybe a little bit more, and it's impressive on like PSN trophies. How I'll look at the point of where I'm at, and I'm like middle of the pack. Like 50% of players are already halfway through this game. Like that never happens. Yeah. Usually, like so many people buy games and don't play them right away. They'll pop it in, play for an hour, and that's it.
We're just kind of like hot topic-ing this right now, but I think God of War was I had a similar feeling of playing it as I did with seeing Avengers Infinity War. Where I can't tell you how many hours God of War was because I just played it in a weekend, and it felt like that. It felt like I was just soaring through this game. It did not feel like I was putting any time to it. It was just that entertaining. It was just like that one take, no cutscene. I don't know how I'm ever going to look at a cutscene again. I really don't know how I'm ever going to look at a cutscene again. Like, God of War, it knocked everything out of the park. So that's why I'm like, stop comparing everything to God of War. Everything you compare to God of War is going to be a letdown.
I'm finding that, yes.
Well, it's just like, I'm struggling, like, in my mind, ranking Avengers Infinity War, because it's, like, not fair to compare it to other movies, because it has the luxury of being set up like a TV show, like being like episode 9 or 10 of a Game of Thrones season, where it's just nonstop madness. And it's not fair to compare that to some standalone movie that comes out.
It's also hard, I mean, now we're getting into movies and everything, but with Avengers Infinity War, that's the challenge of that movie, too. Do you know how hard it must have been to write that script with that many characters and that many... And for the most part, almost everyone gets a moment in that movie.
And to set it up where each character or, like, group, when they're having their moment, they're actually tailoring the, like, direction and the dialogue and the music towards that group.
Yes.
Like, they mesh all the elements of all the different movies, which is just unbelievable.
It was pretty great. I liked it a lot. I know Eddie has a couple issues with it, and I don't want to get into like spoilers for Avengers Infinity War, even though at this point, like, how many people in the world have not seen this movie?
2.
I've seen it twice.
I've seen it twice too.
I have too.
Yeah. So I think it's hard to make a comparison to God of War and Avengers Infinity War because God of War doesn't. Well, no, it kind of does. Yeah.
Man.
God of War does. I was about to say God of War didn't have like 10 years of movies to build up to this one, but you know what? God of War does have a lot of games to build up to this one.
Yeah.
And this is kind of like that payoff that you get for all those monotonous games that were the same thing over and over again. It gave us something fresh. It gave us something new. Yeah, I think we can call God of War the Infinity War of games. I think we can make that comparison.
Yeah, they both have war in the title, which coincidence?
They both have big guys with deep voices.
That's very true. They're both bald.
And they're both bald, and they're both weird colors.
Man, we cracked the code.
Yeah. Atreus is kind of like Gamora.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just throwing shit out my butt right now, but yeah.
Oh my god. Throwing shit out my butt.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to phrase.
We're all over the place right now. We're all over the place right now.
I'm just excited. Like, look, it's May right now. We're not even to E3, and we've already had this massive game. A couple more huge games coming out. We got Spider-Man left. We got Red Dead coming up. We got Detroit. We got Tomb Raider, which I mean, like, I'm still excited about. Like, there's some big games this year.
We have Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, release of 2015, coming out.
We were going to talk about Donkey Kong later, but let's talk about it now because you brought it up. Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. Was it Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze? Why Nintendo needs to hire somebody to do better titles for their games.
Yeah, their titles are always terrible.
They're ridiculous, yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't know one good Nintendo title ever.
Oh, well, Mario plus Rabbids Mushroom Kingdom or whatever it was.
That's simple. Breath of the Wild, good.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild was
good. Those are good. Keep it simple.
Anyway, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze created quite the stir because this was a Wii U title, right? It came out on Wii U originally, which nobody has except for a couple people who mistakenly bought it for their grandchildren.
I broke it. I had one though.
How'd you break it?
I don't know. The controller one day just had like a big old crack in it. I don't know what happened.
Did you throw it at something?
I didn't throw it at anything. I never played it. That was the problem. I wonder if it just broke because I never touched it.
It killed itself.
Yeah, it was just like, no one loves me. It killed itself.
That's because you moved on.
I know. I moved on to much better things. The Wii U was a travesty. Jesus Christ. Well, yeah, let's move on.
But, you know what's not a travesty is the Switch, so it makes sense that they would take this game that was critically acclaimed and that everybody seems to love and move it over to the Switch. The problem is that they're charging $60 for it as if it was a new title. I'm okay with it because I never played it on the Wii U, so it's a new game to me. But as somebody who owned a Wii U and probably played the game because you play everything because you don't go outside, are you upset that it costs $60, Eddie?
Yeah, and I never played it on Wii U. Full disclosure, I never bought it because 2D platformers at that time, I was just like, I don't have time to play 2D platformers. If I'm going to play something, I'm going to kill something. I'm going to shoot something. I like violent games, and Donkey Kong was not feeling that. I was going through a real tough time at that time of my life, so Donkey Kong was not feeling what I needed it to. But yeah, it's 4 years old. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to pay the full $60 for it. I feel like it's a hostage situation, though. I'm not happy about paying the full $60 for it. And why would a 4-year-old game that's being re-released charge me at full price? I don't get it.
Because no one played it.
People played it.
No one played it.
People played it. I think it sold very well.
Mario Kart. Look at Mario Kart Deluxe. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. That came out for the Switch. They charged $60 for that. Everyone happily paid for it, and it's still on the top 10 charts month over month. It's still selling. Nintendo has people that sit there at their computers all day and crunch numbers, and they sit there, data nerds, and they figure out what the price point will be. And guess what? You don't like the price, but you're still gonna buy it.
Yeah, but to go back, I think it sold well. It was very well receptive. Anyone who owned a Nintendo Wii U, this was in their
all
top
12 of those
games.
people.
There you go.
Yeah.
Anyone who owned a Nintendo Wii U.
Hey, I'm making a point here. But I think anyone who owned a Nintendo Wii U, it was in their top 10, 5 to 10. I think anyone who likes Nintendo, anyone who's a Nintendo stan, highly regards this game, and I think it sold over 130,000 units in North America. That's not groundbreaking. But you have to understand where Nintendo's cycle was at that time. I don't understand why. It's just a bad argument to sell it at $60 because no one bought it on the previous.
But dude, you're undoing your own argument because you're saying look at where they were in the cycle back then. Look at where they are in the cycle right now. Sony's probably the top dog, but they're pretty close. And Nintendo has a huge resurgent comeback. Why not charge $60? Whatever. They know people are going to buy it. I would if I was Nintendo.
Then you're just a marketing...
genius?
I said that word. You can't say that word. You can't say the N-word. You're just a
Why were you going to say the N-word?
You're just as bad. Not the other N-word. The N-word that you really can't say.
What?
You just can't... I don't know. It just seems like they're painting them saying, then why can't we compare them to Microsoft then? Because they're just money-grabbing. And Nintendo's never been a money-grabbing company to me. It's never been a company that sets you up to be here is a half-done product, and we're going to charge you at a ridiculous amount of it. It seems like Nintendo's always been for their fans and always supported by their fans.
Well, here's
so I don't understand why, and I don't know of any other of their remasters that are being released.
Here's why I cannot compare them to
What are you
Microsoft,
saying?
because Nintendo plays games people actually want to play. That's why they're not compared to Microsoft. Maybe if Microsoft released games that anyone cared about, if Microsoft decided to re-release Halo, like the original one, as like a remaster, and they charged $60, people would buy it.
Yeah, it'd be a bad marketing choice, and I would complain about that too.
Would you buy it?
It's just you don't bring back remaster games at full price. I just don't think you should be able to do that. Bayonetta, Nintendo's, which never came out for a Nintendo in the first place, they re-released Bayonetta, and that was at $40 price piece. It was not at the full price.
But I think you got to think of it this way too: is it comes down to how rare it is that people experience that. So many people have played Bayonetta before, and they would be like, if you're going to charge $60, I bet they're like, we would sell some. But there's going to be people like, you know what? I don't want to give my money to this. I'll just play my original copy. People don't own Tropical Freeze. Except for the Wii U crowd.
But yeah, but no one could have played Bayonetta on their Wii U, though. Wii U, you couldn't. Like, Wii U was only released for what? I'm sorry. Bayonetta was.
It was on. I thought it was on
a PlayStation.
The consoles.
Yeah, but it wasn't on Nintendo. It was never released.
Oh yeah, no, that's what I'm saying though. It's like, so them re-releasing it on a new system. I feel like people that are in the Nintendo ecosystem are in all the other games. Like, Nintendo fans are big video game fans, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
And they own the other systems. So odds are they probably already own Bayonetta. Or they can get it for cheaper or a used copy.
Well, these same Nintendo fans probably already own Tropical Freeze, too.
Exactly, but then you have these other ecosystems that already own Bayonetta. They don't own Tropical Freeze. And that's that's why you charge $60.
Yeah, you
There's
stupid
a larger
jerk.
audience that hasn't played Tropical Freeze. There's a smaller audience that hasn't played Bayonetta.
But still, you're charging $60 for a 4-year-old 2D platformer.
It is ridiculous. I mean, when you say it like that, that's crazy, right? But they can do it, and it'll probably work.
Yeah, they can do it, but I can complain about it.
Sure you can, but I mean, like...
I'm upset about it.
But you don't have to buy it.
But I have to buy it. Because what has Nintendo Wii brought out this year? Give me one big release Nintendo Wii's brought out this year. Or not Nintendo Wii, sorry.
I was like, I can't.
Come out with this
There hasn't been a single Wii game.
Give me one big release besides this one that Nintendo Switch has come out with this year.
The Nintendo Labo?
Another one. Give me one that's not geared for a 2-year-old with diabetes. A 2-year-old. Divey butt 2-year-olds are playing with Nintendo Labo. Yeah, neither you can think of any, because there aren't any. There wasn't a single big released by Nintendo.
Which gives them
Switch
even more of a reason to charge $60.
Yeah, and that's a garbage reason. That's a garbage reason. You're going to charge me $60 because you can't come out with a new IP
That
this
is
year?
Nintendo's model, though. You look back to any of these old games, they are all about scarcity. They are all about not flooding the market with tons of games, so they're going to charge their high amounts. Just like when you go and try to get classic Nintendo games. Or you try to get, like, Game Boy game, or DS games.
Yeah, DS games.
Like, there's a lot of hard to find. Like, I remember when I was looking for even, like, what was it? Zelda Link to a World? Or whatever that is, like the 3DS platformer game, it was so hard for me to find a copy.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Because they think they're Disney.
They kind of
open
are.
up the Nintendo vaults.
Yeah.
Every once in a while.
I'm just saying. Nintendo's had a great year last year. We can all agree on that. Had a phenomenal year last year. Probably had the best year out of all the consoles last year by releasing a lot of great, phenomenal masterpieces, right? And I'll say Nintendo Breath of the Wild and Super Mario Odyssey, in their own regards, are their own little masterpieces. But this year, they have not come out with anything. This is their first release of the year. It's March. This is their first release of the year. We've had God of War from Sony. We've had Monster Hunter from the consoles. We've had a few games that have been released by Nintendo and Microsoft and Sony. This is Nintendo's first big release, and they're coming out with a 4-year-old 2D platformer for full price. That's my problem. And everyone is just jumping head over heels like, oh, it's okay, it's fine, they can do it, and no one's complaining about it. It's because everyone gives Nintendo free passes.
Are we giving Nintendo free pass?
People always give Nintendo free passes. Nintendo stands are the most forgiving people of all time, and I consider myself to be one, because I love Nintendo. I buy every Nintendo release that ever come out. That's why I'm going to go buy Donkey Kong Tropical Island. But still, Nintendo shit on you. All throughout Nintendo Wii U's life phase. Just shit on you. And now Nintendo Switch is coming out, and it gives them an idea to bring out all their good games from the Nintendo Wii U, because the Nintendo Wii U was a travesty, and you guys are forgiving that?
Bro, you're forgiving them. How are you going to say all of this and then say you're also going to go out and buy Tropical Freeze?
Because I have nothing to play right now on my Switch, and I like my Switch.
You're playing into their hand. You're saying one thing and then doing the opposite of what you're saying.
That's the beauty of being an American, cat. That's why I pay my goddamn taxes every year, because as an American, this is my right. I have the right to say one thing publicly and go behind my back and do something else.
That sounds pretty American.
Right. Look, my just biggest complaint is you cannot if any other company, like you said it, Pat, if Halo would have released another Halo in 2018 and released it at $60, there would have been a backlash like nothing we've seen before. But Nintendo can constantly get away with these things because it's Nintendo.
Hey, they got some stuff. Hey, Mario Tennis Aces.
I'm excited for that game.
Nintendo Mario Aces, but
sorry, whatever.
My question, what do they have coming out? What they haven't? They had nothing. We're in May. They had nothing come out since January from May. That's a whole 2 quarters that they didn't have anything come out for. We're almost at the end of the second quarter, and they come out with a remaster at full price. And their next big release is what? Treasure Toll Tracker? Another remaster?
Does somebody have their release calendar?
Microsoft?
Microsoft hasn't released a game in 5 years. There's been Cuphead. That's their game.
And they came out with that terrible game.
Oh yeah.
The pirate game.
Oh, Sea of Thieves.
The pirate game. Seaside Heights. What's that game called?
Sea of Thieves.
Seaside Heights. You just mix Sea of Thieves and Radical Heights together.
Yeah, sorry.
I played that game.
So Sea of Thieves, at least they've come out with a big budget game. It wasn't received well, but they tried.
Don't say it like it. It wasn't received well. Blame the fans. They released a garbage game. All right, another big thing that happened this week was the release of another trailer for Red Dead Redemption. They keep calling them trailers, even though to me they're more teasers, since we haven't seen any gameplay, even though they said there was gameplay footage in it. I feel like I'm in the minority, and I was a little bit disappointed in this trailer, but everybody else seems to be loving it. What were you guys' thoughts?
I mean, I'm super excited about it, but they could also have just had a character come out with the Red Dead logo in a red background and just come out and shoot a gun, and I'd be like, this looks amazing. I know what they're making. Their style of trailers have always been very cinematic, movie-like, not focused on gameplay as much. So I'm not worried in the slightest. In Rockstar we trust.
Yeah, the trailer's done very well to me. Rockstar's never been big on showing us actual gameplay footage. What they usually do is they've done with this one. They'll release 3 trailers. The third trailer is usually an exposition on the world and all the characters we're gonna get. And then directly after that, they usually will have a one-on-one or some type of meeting with IGN or GameSpot. Or I've never really seen them do anything with Kotaku, but and then they'll go to the studios and actually give them a hands-on gameplay demo. So in regards of Rockstar staying along with what they do for every single game, they're staying along those lines, and I thought the trailer was done very well. I think the game, I'm a little upset, and we still don't know. It sounds like we're just going to get one protagonist. I was hoping that we could get multiple protagonists. I was hoping that the female in the trailer, I don't know her name, was going to be a playable protagonist because they seem to feature her a lot. But other than that, I think the trailer was done real well, and it's probably my most anticipated game of the year.
Yeah, okay, so all those things I agree with. But my issue is that we actually don't know the answer to some of those questions that you said. We don't know who the playable characters are going to be. We don't, because they didn't show us, really. They teased us. My problem is that they built up this trailer for an entire week, saying they were going to drop this trailer. So I expected more than just another short story tease. The biggest reveal, I guess, in this trailer was that John Marston is in it as a younger version of John Marston. But did anyone not expect John Marston to be in this game?
I think, but they never really do show anything monumental. I mean, even if you go back to the GTA 5.
So I did do that, though. I went back and I watched the GTA 5 trailer, and it was very clear. First off, some of them kind of show gameplay footage. Not really. Not you walking down the street with the heads-up display. But you doing a heist or blah, blah, blah. And I guess this one's kind of similar with you, on the horses and the train sequence. But my problem was there was really clear who the 3 characters were in the Grand Theft Auto 5 trailer. You knew it was Franklin, you knew it was Trevor, and you knew it was Michael. They showed you that. In this one, I have no idea. There's a million different characters going on, and I don't know who I'm supposed to be following.
Did they? That last, and I could be wrong, and you could correct me on it, but I feel like that, and Collin could correct me on it, I feel like that last trailer before the release, I know after the release we got the Trevor and Franklin trailers, but I feel like before the release, it was heavily Michael. I thought we all went into it, and it wasn't announced until that E3 that there was going to be three playable protagonists. Then after that E3, we never really got any trailers after that. I could be completely wrong, but I was under the impression that all of us that was waiting for GTA 5 was going under the impression that we were playing as Michael. And then they did like a last minute thing like that where it's like, whoa, you get to play as 3 people.
Whoa!
Received until people actually got their hands on it. They're like, oh my god, this is something that's never been done before and it's fantastic. I could be wrong though, I don't know.
Well, you've been wrong a lot on this podcast, so I don't know if I'm going to trust
I'm wrong a lot. I'm wrong like 85% of the time, and I work with kids, so I'm used to it.
I don't know, I'm like looking at this trailer, I think one, it gets me excited about the settings, the wildlife, the nature. Like there's some really cool outdoor like forest scenes that got me really excited. But also like I want to know that information, but also Rockstar is really good about slowly giving us like kind of dangling some carrots here and there, leaving like a trail of little pieces of candy. So like we're leading up to this October release date, because I also love that they kind of wait and they give us an 8 to 6 month window where they just actually start giving us all the details, instead of some games they announce and they tell us all this crap 2 years ago and it's like, okay, and then I forget about the game, or I'm just like, all right, when's this coming out? So I actually appreciate their approach.
Yeah, and then you start making your own expectations and things like that. If they start releasing things that they're going to do early, like we've seen it like kill so many games. I hate we bring this up a lot, but like No Man's Sky was an example. Where they come out saying we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do this, and then when the game comes out, they do that, but it's not to the extent of what people dreamed about. So I think that's why Rockstar takes this approach of not really announcing what's new in the game, but just announcing little snippets, so that when you actually get your hands on it, it's something it feels new, it feels fresh. You don't have expectations going into it, so you can't be let down by it.
So I'm okay with all of that. My problem is that, like, then why release 3 separate trailers? You know, like, what's new coming out of that? Like, do I need that many different trailers?
And that's a good point, yeah. That's a good point. And you're right, the first 2 really didn't open up anything at all.
Right.
This for sure should have been it would have been ideal for this to be the first trailer. But I mean, personally for me, anytime they've dropped anything, I've just been like so excited. Like it doesn't matter what they do, as long as there's a Red Dead logo on it and the release date doesn't get pushed back again. I'm happy about anything they give us.
Yeah.
This is a game I'm beyond.
Rockstar, I think Rockstar has that. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. I'm beyond excited for this game, regardless of whatever trailer I watch. That's all I wanted to say. Is that, like, frankly, like Collin said, it could have just been a logo, and I would have lost my mind for this game. It's just that when you build something up, and like, there's already been 2 other trailers before this, or teasers, or whatever they are. I kind of expected more if you were going to drop it, because otherwise, like, don't even bother. I don't care. You could just not do anything else until October when the game comes out. You already have my money.
You have to do something because you have people clamoring all over the place, like where's a new trailer, where's a new trailer. And
but
I think
now
Rockstar
in May,
fans, considering if you've been with Rockstar a long time, we've been waiting for this type of trailer, this 2-minute or more trailer that gives us a very large exposition of like I think we know who the villain is, we know more about the location, we know more about the characters, we know more about the story. So all of that wasn't answered until this trailer was released. And if you go back and you look at like all the people that have broken down these trailers, there's a lot of information that they were able to get from these trailers. Like, for instance, the hand-to-hand combat in Rockstar looks like it's finally been revamped. Even between those 2 little fight snippets that we got. But for me, it seemed like the fighting system, which was a big complaint for me, the hand-to-hand combat system, it seems like they completely revamped it. And reading demos and things like that, it seems like the hand-to-hand combat is going to be a main focus for this game. So, and that's the type of stuff that Rockstar does with its trailers. It alludes to changes, but it doesn't outright say, this is what's new in this game, you dummy.
Yeah. I don't know. I like that, but I think it's going back to the same thing that we're saying about Nintendo. We're treating them different because of what they've done in the past. The same way we're like, Nintendo gets a pass on things, Rockstar gets a pass on things.
You guys think Nintendo different?
Yeah, because they're the best, and they've earned that, I guess, yeah.
And I'm a huge Rockstar fan. Just to call it out, I will give them props all day, and I'm going to do it again right now. They went and they updated Red Dead 1 for Xbox One X and Xbox One, so it's updated graphics and it has Xbox One X graphics support now. So if you have an Xbox One X, you can get a more glossy, very better looking version of Red Dead 1 right now, and they did that just as a free update if you own the game.
And that's great, because if you have an Xbox One X, there's nothing else to play on.
We tried to be balanced here, and speaking of updates and speaking on Rockstar, they did go back to Grand Theft Auto 4 and removed over 200 songs from that game. And people are really upset about that, because I guess there's still a community playing Grand Theft Auto 4.
4?
So, yeah, 4.
The one that came out in 2008?
Nico's game, dude. Nico's Belichick's game. People are complaining that Rockstar went back and removed the songs out of that game. So people are saying that their experience is ruined. So
to be honest, I mean, I'm going to sit here. If I'm playing Grand Theft Auto 4 and I can't listen to Crack House by Fat Joe and Lil Wayne, I'm not going to play the game.
Luckily, I always have that song playing in my house anyway. So
I mean, if you don't, every game should have feature crack. I forgot about that.
If you just play it all the time, then every game does. Rolling around Hyrule, listening to Crack House.
Yeah, but I went through a weird wormhole yesterday and started reading Grand Theft Auto. I went through to read reviews of all the past Grand Theft Autos that were released, and I stumbled across the Steam page of Grand Theft Auto 4, and it's like a bloodbath there. So
people downvoting it right now?
People are so mad about them removing the songs, and I thought I got a good kick out of it. So if you have time to go read Steam comments for Grand Theft Auto 4, go ahead, because it's hilarious. There are a lot of angry diaper babies on there.
Diaper babies.
Babies.
Get your diaper baby t-shirt at donkeyconartist.com.
Alright, Eddie, you're gonna work on the diaper baby logo for the t-shirts.
That's my new term, diaper babies. Bunch of diaper baby men out here.
Yeah, Red Dead's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, but I get your complaints, Pat, but I don't know. It's Rockstar's bread and butter. This is what they do.
I think it's an argument for the moment. We live in a very, with Twitter and just announcements happening every day, I think we live in the moment, but once the game's actually out, we're not going to remember, I wish I had more info in that trailer. I'm so angry. I'm going to go downvote it because they took away my songs and they didn't give me a good trailer.
Where's Crack House?
Yeah, they don't have Crack House and Red Dead Redemption. I'm not playing that game either.
This game up, but it's the best game to come out in the last 5 years, arguably. But did God of War give us any big reveals or anything like that? Did they handhold us before the release of the game? Or was everything relatively new when it came out?
Oh man, God of War was the complete. There was nothing shown about God of War. Even that.
So what do you want?
Well, I don't care. Because God of War wasn't saying here's a big reveal trailer. Stay tuned for Wednesday when this new trailer comes out.
That's true.
That's my only problem with it. I don't care what they did, and I'm still going to buy the game, and I still love Rockstar. I just don't like this trend of being we're releasing... It's the same in movies with, The Last Jedi. It's we haven't seen a trailer for The Last Jedi, and be I don't care. Everyone who's going to see The Last Jedi is already going to see it.
Now, I'm wondering if this is what the general population thinks, though, because I'm wondering if this also has to deal with you also, Pat, having a job in this industry and this and having to pay attention to this stuff and get ready. You may have to write a piece based on this new announcement. So I wonder how much of it comes versus me as someone, I find out about this stuff scrolling through Twitter while I'm on the train going to work. When this is your job.
Right.
On the train going to work is a funny way to say toilet, Collin.
Well, that too. Well, hey, trust me, lots of people use BART in the Bay Area as a toilet, so I've easily ride on a toilet, don't worry.
All those diaper babies on BART.
All the diaper babies. Comes back to the diaper babies.
Oh, God.
But yeah, Pat, I wonder how much of it comes down to, if that also plays a little bit into it.
Probably. Honestly, I'm being a big diaper baby right now, because I have... You're right, though. I mean, I have to follow this stuff super closely because of my job. So, I'm aware of these things and, what's released when it's released. So, I guess because I have to do it all the time, you're right. I'll take the loss here. I'm being a jerk.
No, I don't think you're being a jerk. I bet you there's a ton of people out there that were clamoring for something more than I read it on social media. So it was just something more of I was just kind of popped into my head.
Well, even our resident writer Craig, he was complaining on our Slack channel there needs to be more, and he's a pretty big gamer. He likes a lot of neckbeard games. Ooh,
Oh, snap!
But snap. But yeah, he was even upset. He was just like, I want a more gameplay trailer. So I get it. I get we're in a, especially with video games, because we've been like bamboozled so many times with like E3 trailers and trailers that say they're going to do all this stuff, and then the game comes out and it doesn't do that. So I get where your frustration, and you're not being mean. I get where your frustrations are coming from. I really do, because we have been bamboozled so many times, and you have to be on your defensive, especially as a Hollywood Reporter gatekeeper.
Is that what I am?
Always protect the logo.
You gotta protect everyone. You're right for everyone. You gotta protect the logo. So I get it.
That's just the man of the people.
Man of the people.
That's me.
Protect this.
I've gone from diaper baby to man of the people.
Really quick.
You're like Thor in Wakanda.
Spoilers.
Seriously, what the hell?
Sorry. You can edit that out. Sorry.
Alright, let's do something we haven't done in a little while. Let's do What Are You Playing Right Now? Music. Alright, who wants to go first? I feel like let's start with Collin. Because, Collin, you're an enigma to me. I don't know what you're playing. You seem to play a mixture of things.
Yeah, so I'm actually playing through God of War right now, about halfway through. Absolutely loving it, but it's such a heavy game that I have been struggling to finish it. So I'm taking some time here in the next few days so I can beat that. I'm really excited. And then when I need to, when I get off work and I'm just mentally tired and I don't have the energy for a game like that, I've been playing a little Call of Duty World War II. Just been playing a little here and there.
Yeah.
You're the first person I've heard actually drop that game's name. Sorry. I haven't heard anything about Call of Duty World War II. Nobody talks about that game.
It's cool. I mean, there's still a ton of people playing it, but it's the same old. But it's like that game I can play, and I know exactly the mechanics. I don't have to worry about jumping on walls in this time. It's just gunplay, and I can play music or a podcast and zone out and play this game. It's mindless.
Fair enough.
This is why Collin is such a good asset to this, because I just can't play those games. And I don't think you play those games, so I just can't. I can't play those games.
I mean, it's one of those things. I have to have my Mountain Dew quota every week, where I drink 5 Mountain Dews a day. And that's the only way I can stay up on my multiplayer grind.
You have like a cocktail of Red Bull and Mountain Dew.
There's some guy in like a green suit who's coming by with a clipboard and be like, Collin, how many Mountain Dews have you drinking this week?
Oh, no, yeah. They actually will test to see how much Dorito dust is actually on your controller as well. And if there's not a certain layer of Dorito dust, I get my copy of Call of Duty taken away.
Makes sense.
I'm sorry, you forgot a game that you're playing? You forgot a game that you're playing that you need to talk about?
Oh,
yes.
A good amount of time into Yakuza 6.
Woo, look at that.
Oh my gosh. No, sorry, and I'm glad that's how crazy God of War has put a hold on me. But so I'm gonna definitely jump into Yakuza 6 right when I beat God of War. It is a game in subtitles. It has all these mini games. It is the last game I thought I would ever like, and it's about this guy that everyone calls old because he has like one gray hair. And everyone calls him old, and he's protecting a baby. And there are orphans in it. There are gangs. There's a gang that's just all about killing the other gangs, so they think they're good. It is the most ridiculous game ever. Couldn't recommend it more. Play Yakuza 6.
Kill, yes. Yakuza 6 is really fun. I'm glad Collin's playing it. I'm gonna probably pick it up pretty soon. But you had to talk about that.
No, I'm glad. Thank you for reminding me. And if anything, now I'm like, damn it, I need to beat God of War even faster so I can play Yakuza.
And I heard they complement each other very well, because they're both about fatherhood. I've read like a couple articles saying that you could easily jump from God of War to Yakuza. Not similar gameplay styles, but like story beats are a lot the same.
And to put this out here too, I highly recommend it. If you've never played Yakuza, I've never played any of the games before. They have the best intro to every single game in the series, where you can just click on the video and it just gives you a little bit of dialogue and who the characters are, and it gives you the main story arc in every single game. So you can get a recap, and you do it at your own speed. It's not like a movie or something, you just click through it. So props to them having a great recap setting, too, for the rest of the series. So easy to pick up if you haven't played it.
That's really cool.
What are you playing, Eddie?
I beat God of War. I have, so I, kind of streamlined it. I didn't do any side missions. So this is just how good God of War is. When I beat a game, I'm done. I put it away. I I'm still doing the side missions for God of War. I'm trying to platinum that game. I want to get all the trophies. I really enjoy the combat. I really enjoy, like, just... I'm kind of upset because Mimir doesn't tell stories anymore. I think I got to that point where, like, his stories have run out. So that's a little upsetting to me because the lore in that game is really deep. And make sure if you're playing God of War, make sure you're paying attention to everything that Mimir says, because I feel like it's going to either allude to a future game or it's going to allude to, like, some theories that I've seen pop up about God of War.
Also, just because it's super entertaining and cool, just sit in the boat listening to Mimir.
Mimir's probably one of my favorite supporting characters in a game ever.
Yeah, he's great.
The introduction of his character, when you get him, it kind of, like, changed the game completely for me. Like, I was enjoying it, but when I got Mimir, I was like, okay, this is what this game is. So yeah, I'm just trying to get through God of War. Stardew Valley came out with a new update, so I got recently back into Stardew Valley, trying to see what that's all about. I'm starting my little coffee empire now in Stardew Valley, so that's kind of interesting.
Multiplayer?
There's multiplayer now, so I'm looking for a friend to jump down there with me.
Are you playing it on Switch?
Actually, I have it on Switch, so if you want to try to play it on Switch, let me know.
Let's do it.
Because I have it on Switch on PC, and my Switch version is, like, really new, so I haven't done much of anything on there. My PC version, I got, like, 120 hours on there. Other than that, I think that's it. I've been kind of, like, going... Oh, Maelstrom. Maelstrom, big time on Steam. It's like a battle royale. I'm actually going to be writing an article that you should see this week, but it's a battle royale pirate game where you get, like, you're either a dwarf, a human, or an orc. You get to pick 3 ships from each one of those races. Similar to PUBG, you're dropped into a map, and then it's all everyone against everyone. You're trying to get updates. You're trying to build up your ship. That game is like I've like hooked into that game. So a lot of Maelstrom, a lot of God of War, like Stardew Valley, Persona 5, just a little bit of everything. How about you, Pat? What are you playing?
You're gonna love this. I'm playing Final Fantasy XII Zodiac Age.
Is the same one you've been playing, or is this a different one?
It's a long game.
Oh, it's the same one?
Yeah, it takes like 60 hours.
Oh, wow. Okay. Alright.
So I'm doing that, even though I've beaten this game like 5 times.
PlayStation 4, and you're still playing Final Fantasy games?
It's a remastered Final Fantasy with a new job system.
Was it $60?
No, it was free because I'm a big deal.
Ooh.
Yeah. I've also been playing MLB The Show a lot because the Yankees are really good this year, so it's fun to play the game and actually have my team be good in it.
How is that game? Do you enjoy it? I've never played an MLB The Show game.
I like it, everything except for the pitching. I don't really like the pitching that much. It has like this reticle that like grows and then shrinks and it goes really fast and you have to time it correctly, and it kind of hurts my head to have to concentrate that much.
Okay.
Noob. Come play against me. I'm on the Hall of Fame Plus on pitching. That's the difficulty level.
All right, bring it, dog. I'll take you Oppo with Giancarlo.
Plus, not even regular.
Not Hall of Fame regular. He has a Hall of Fame Plus.
That's sad, but good for you, Collin.
I'll play as no, you'll still probably beat me because the Yankees are really good.
We're awesome.
Are we all paying the $60 for the Donkey Kong then?
I'm paying $60 for Donkey Kong.
I lost that argument and I have to pay $60 for a remaster.
Pretty
Is
much.
that what we're saying right now?
You can play with Earl, though.
Yep.
It's our weekly shout-out to Earl. Hey, Earl. All right, well, thank you, everyone, for joining us for another week of Donkey Kong Partis.
Say fartist?
Donkey Kong Fartist, diaper babies.
Diaper babies.
You gotta keep that.
You know what? Whatever. We're leaving it. I'm not going to edit it out. That's what you get. Thanks for listening to Donkey Kong Artist.
Are you singing Diaper Babies to the tune of the Muppet Baby song?
I am.
Obviously.
I am. Yes.
Duh.
This is going to be my new comic called The Diaper Babies, about babies who can, like, baby geniuses.
Oh, my God.
I'm going to go watch Boss Baby, guys. I'll see you later.
Ugh. If you haven't already, follow us on Twitter. We're on Instagram. We're at DonkeyKongArtist.com. We're going to try and make some Diaper Baby shirts because those sound amazing to me. And let us know what you think or who you want us to talk to in the future in the comments, or just reach out to us on Gmail or Twitter or any of those other stupid things online.
Yes, and thank you for continuing to listen, and we'd like to welcome Riley Brewer to our team.
Yeah,
if you want
Riley.
to check out his write-up on God of War, it is up on our website, DonkeyKongArtist.com. Leave a comment, let us know what you think. Say hello, be nice, be welcoming, be friendly.
Unlike Edmund.
I'm very welcoming and friendly.
Oh.
Leader of the minority team, Diaper Babies. Let's go.
Let's go hug some people.
Yeah, we're gonna go hug the hell out of some people.
Yeah, angrily hug people.
Yeah, I'm gonna hug all that love out of you, little boy.
All right, goodbye, everybody. We love you. Goodbye.
Bye. I love you.
What a stupid idiot podcast.